Welcome, everyone. I'm Clemence Kucera. I'm the Assistant Dean for the Graduate Law Programs at McGeorge. My colleague with me today, Katania Worsham, who is our Assistant Director, is here. Thank you, Kat, for being here. So we will, oops, I'm sorry, let me try to. We will spend the first part of this presentation talking to you. We kindly ask you that to hold on your questions for the end. It's just a little easier that way. So we'll cover what is an MSL degree, what you would want to pursue one. We will talk about the programs that we offer. We will talk about the what makes our program distinctive, what to expect should you decide to pursue an MSL degree, and the next steps. And then finally, we'll open it up for Q&A. So what is an MSL degree? So it's a law degree, and I put that down. I'm sure all of you have done quite some research, and you know that it is a law degree. But for many people, they're not sure if it's going to be a business-related degree, if it's a criminal justice. And so just want to emphasize, it's a law degree. It's taught by law professors. For us, we have a combination of full-time tenured faculty as well as adjunct faculty, which is a fantastic combination. So you get to learn from people who do research in that field, as well as from people who practice in that field. In your classes, in most of your classes, except for the foundational classes that all of our MSL students must take, so which my colleague will go over the curriculum in a few slides, but so you'll see that your first year is pretty much just required courses. In those courses, you are primarily going to be just with MSL students. There may be another master students, but primarily you're just going to be MSL students, because we develop those courses for you for this program. And the other courses, like the electives, we call them the electives, they were also developed for MSL students, but our JD students really like them. So we often allow 1 or 2 JD students to enroll in each of those classes. We also sometimes have some of our international students enrolling in those classes. Again, it's only 1 or 2. So the biggest cohort is always the MSL students, but we do actually encourage that, that interaction. And because those are law courses, like it can count towards any of our law degrees that we offer. So an MSL degree, so Master of Science in Law, our MSL means Master of Science in Law. It's not a new degree in the US, but it's newer, let's put it that way. You may have heard about it as an MLS, a Master of Legal Studies, or an MJur, which is also a Master of Jurisprudence. There are probably other acronyms that I just didn't list there. But so it is not, we don't have a unified name across all the law schools, but it is a degree that many law schools do offer. Often, you end up focusing in a particular area of law. Sometimes we have some students who say, I just want to do a general MSL. You have the options to do that, but you would have to come and take some classes in person on our campus. Just because they're interested in more than one concentrations. But most of the time, students who decide to pursue an MSL degree, they are interested in a particular field of law. And most of the MSL programs that are offered at other schools also follow that model. So I just want to emphasize, it is not a paralegal degree, and it is not a JD degree. So not a paralegal because we don't teach you on the skills that paralegal programs teach, such as supporting your attorneys, all the filing requirements, the civil procedure, and all of that. We don't teach that. We don't teach those skills, and this is not the aim of this degree. The JD degree is not a JD degree also because at the end of this degree, even though it's a law degree and some of the courses are the same as the JD that the JD students can take, you're not eligible to sit for a bar exam after an MSL degree. And if you, during the admission process, if you were to tell us, I really want to be an attorney and represent clients, we will right away guide you towards the JD degree. The MSL degree is for those of you who work in a field that is highly regulated, that requires a lot of compliance, or you are working in a position where you do require to have that knowledge. You want to expand on that. You want to grow with it. You're already your area, an area that you've already pre-identified. Sometimes it's people who are mid-career and they're ready to take the next level. They want to have more of a management type position. Sometimes it's people who are coming just right out of their undergrad degree, and they do know they're going to go in the field, or they've done like some internship and they're going to go in the field. They want to be a staffer, for example, for an assembly member or a senate member. So the McGeorge MSL program, we were launched in 2012. Originally, it was just an in-person program, and over the last, I think now it's like 4 or 5 years, so it's pre-COVID, we decided to move 2 of our concentration fully online. Why those 2 ones is because government law and policy, we have, it's a field where we have a lot of people who either work already in that field or who are interested in going in that field. And so as they're going through the program, they're looking for jobs. And we have a wonderful career department, career, I'm blanking on the name, the CDO, our Career Advisory Center, that that can work with you. But anyway, in that world, there is a legislative schedule, right? So often in the fall, like people have a lot more time, and in the spring, you're very busy. So coming to classes, coming on campus makes it like, it's quite challenging. Same for the water and environmental law. We realize like it's a lot of working professionals or people who want to enter the workforce. And so doing it in online, and we'll talk about how we teach online, makes the most sense. Kath, I see that you unmuted yourself.
I was just it was the career development office. I just
Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know why I just blanked on that. So why pursuing an MSL degree? I mentioned it a little bit because you want to gain expertise in a particular area of law. Obviously, if you decide to do a master's program, it's because you want to increase your career options, no matter what they are. You know, we work one-on-one with all of our students to find the best curriculum for their career goals. We also have a CDO where we have an advisor, a career advisors who work individually with each of our students. Should you decide to take advantage of this opportunity, you do not have to be on campus to take advantage of the CDO. Everything can be done online. We still use Zoom, and our online students have the same privilege as our in-person students. In some positions, in some field, like you cannot get a promotion without an additional degree or without a master's degree at least. And sometimes people just want to change career. They're not really sure how to get started, how to show that they would be able to be a successful employee in a different career. And the MSL degree, or any degree, but the MSL degree is certainly like a degree that could help you make that transition. Not only because you're going to learn like the knowledge and the skills that you are looking for, but also because you're going to have access to a network through our MSL program that will open doors for any change of career. And then finally, it's just everything is job related, right? Like increased job security. We've heard this over and over from our students that the MSL degree provides them definitely some job security, and they're because they're more valuable to their employers. So I'm sorry, I don't know if you can see the bottom of this slide. At least on my screen, the bottom is cut off. So my apologies, it's a formatting on my end. I just wanted to list here some of the type of positions that our students have had, our alumni have currently. I put it like the year they graduated, because you obviously the more senior you are, the longer you graduate, the more senior you're likely going to be. So the last one that we had that is cut off is someone who graduated in 21, and she's a compliance analyst for the state of California. So those are just example. And this is also the network that you'll have access. We have alumni reunion. We also open once you're a student, but also once you become an alumni, you obviously have access to not only those alumni, but also the JD programs alumni. And we have a lot of students who end up deciding to go in a career in either water and environmental law or government law and policy. Anything, Kat?
No.
Okay, so I think this is my cue to turn this over to you.
Hi guys, I'm Kat. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our two concentrations that Dean Kucera was mentioning. Can you, oh, I can't control Clem, sorry. Okay, so our first is our Master in Water and Environmental Law. So this MSL is really, it's designed for professionals and graduates, like recent graduates, who are looking for a practical knowledge of law and policy relevant to water, environmental, public agency issues, but you're not looking to practice law, you're not looking to be an environmental attorney, you're not looking to be a water law attorney. It's beneficial for consultants, engineers, anybody who's working in a field that's highly regulated, like Dean Kucera mentioned. It's, you work with a lot of policy or you work with a lot of attorneys. It's very beneficial for those individuals. Our environmental law program is often recognized among the top environmental law programs in the US. It was ranked number 57 in 2022 in the US News and World Report. And it's, we have a lot of professors who this is their field that they focus in, and they're very passionate about it, and they're very well known in the water and environmental field. And then additionally, this degree is earned through part-time or full-time. So the schedule is very flexible. We have some students who take one class at a time. We have some students who take 3 to 4 and everything in between. It is fully online, so the degree can be completed 100% online. Some students might choose to take a few in-person courses here and there, but that's ultimately up to you. It's interactive. A lot of people feel like online programs they're just that. There's no interaction with other students. There's no interaction with the professor. We very much design these to where you get a ton of that. There's a lot of discussions where both students and the faculty member will participate. You get a lot more interaction than a lot of people realize they're going to. And then the courses are asynchronous. So there's no set time that you have to attend. You will have a module. There's a module for every week of the semester. And in that module, you have pre-recorded lectures, assignments, reading, quizzes, things like that you have to complete for that particular week. So it's also very easy for you to kind of build your work schedule around it because you know exactly what you have to do. And that way you don't have to cut time out of your day to like attend a live lecture. So this is the curriculum for the water and environmental law concentration. All of our MSLs require 26 units. The water and environmental law concentration requires 8 courses. So 4 of these, the other concentration takes as well. The first 2 every MSL has to take. It's the Introduction to Legal Analysis and Analytical Skills. Those are really foundational courses where you're going to learn what you need basically to use in all the other courses. You learn legal writing and research, analytical skills as it states. They're really foundational for every course you're going to take from that point on. And they're also very similar to courses that JD students take where they learn how to do legal research and writing. In addition, once you get past that first year, essentially, if you do 2 courses at a time, you start to dive more into your concentration courses. So water resources law, environmental law, and then the leadership in organizations and persuasive public speaking course. Those are 2 courses that are required. They're 1-unit courses offered over the semester. They're really valuable to anybody getting an MSL. Persuasive public speaking, most people do that regardless of what field they're in. And it's a really good course to kind of brush up on those skills. And then on the other side is the electives. So if you're in the water environmental law concentration, you'll get to take 2 courses that are elective courses. And even though you're doing water and environmental law, here's your opportunity to possibly take a course in government law, because that is probably still applicable to you in many ways. So you'll also have access to the other concentrations courses. And then there's also the option for a directed research or master's thesis. Our program does not require you to do a master's thesis, but if you want to have some kind of written product at the end of your degree, you can do a directed research, which is, it's not as in-depth, it's not as intense as a master's thesis, or you can complete a master's thesis. And we pair you, depending on your topic, we pair you with a professor who that's their area of expertise. So just a little course spotlight. So our water resources law course, it, especially if you're here in California, water law is incredibly important in our state. Water is incredibly important. So this course in particular focuses on surface and groundwater rights, water management, environmental allocation, the human right to water, federal and tribal, just everything that surrounds the right to water essentially. And in California, that's incredibly important, as it is in other states. It will go over the rules, social policies related to how water is managed and provided to different people. And then it's an opportunity to also make connections with environmental law, in environmental law and other elective courses or focus study or master's thesis. So this is our other online concentration. It's the government law and policy making. Again, it's designed for working professionals or recent graduates who are looking to get into the government law and policy field. So legislatures, election, lobbying, but again, they're not looking to practice law as an attorney. It is the MSL in government law and policy is widely applicable, whether you're working local, state, or federal agencies, or you're even working in private companies or non-governmental organizations that still work heavily with policy and regulation. So anything focusing on government affairs, lobbying, legislative staff, anything like that. And then this program is actually built on the foundation of the law school's capital lawyering program. I don't know if Dean Kucera wants to add anything about that program.
My apologies. Of course, I moved something on my computer and now I couldn't find the mouse anymore. So our capital center, we have a capital center for in government law and policy that is the center that offers our capital lowering program, which is a program that our JD students do take for those who are interested in going in that route. As I mentioned, there's a lot of interactions between the MSL alumni, the MSL in government law and policy alumni with the capital lowering JD students, JD alumni. I say alumni and not students, because during your studies, you may end up having a course where, as I mentioned, where few of the JD students are going to be enrolled in. But for the most part, our online classes are built for our MSL students. Our MSL students need different skills than our JD students. You're not going to practice law, but you're going to use the law in a different ways. And that's what we teach. Our JD students will use the law as a lawyer in a different way. However, in this world of government law and policy, the lines between MSL and JD are a lot more blurry. And so there's a lot of interactions between those two. And so we, throughout your studies, as part of our government law and policy students, you will be invited to all of the capital lowering programs, events, and activities and networking opportunities.
Thank you. And then, so this degree, it's the same, it's set up the same as the water and environmental law. So full-time or part-time, online, and then lots of interaction, and the courses are designed exactly the same. So this is the government law and policy curriculum. Like I said, still 26 units. You will see that the government law and policy program actually only has 7 required courses, where the water and environmental law had 8. So for electives, you tend to get, you'll get 3 electives for government law and policy rather than the 2. Sorry, the slide is a little incorrect. And then this is the opportunity for government law and policy concentration students to take courses either in water and environmental law or more in government law and policy. It really just depends on what you're interested in. And then you also have an opportunity to do a directed research or master's thesis focused on government law and policy. So the course spotlight for government law and policy making is our government law and policy making course. So this course introduces students to the role that government agency leaders play in developing, modifying, implementing, just everything surrounding policy. So legislation, regulations, executive orders, court orders, and things of that nature. In this course, students will actually, you'll analyze the policy, you'll learn essential organization and procedures that, of the policy making venues, so the people who are creating the policy. You'll consider and weigh strategic implications associated with various venues and process. You'll conduct research. In the MSL program, you actually get access to all the same legal research tools that JD students do, so LexisNexis, Westlaw, things of that nature. So you'll get to conduct research in this course on federal and state policymaking sources. You'll develop skills for advocacy, negotiation, and compromise in a policymaking setting, and you'll practice your skills to important public policy matters of the day. At the end of the class, you'll actually complete a project surrounding a current issue that's facing public policy. Okay, so what makes McGeorge online graduate degrees distinctive? So all of our online MSL degrees are, like I mentioned, they have asynchronous lectures, so you don't have to be on time at a specific time of day or during the week. Despite that, you still get a lot of interaction with your classmates and with your professors. Everybody has to contribute to the postings, usually multiple times, and it really gets a discussion going. And when you do have students from other, either JD or the LLM or another master's program, because everybody has a different viewpoint, everybody looks at things a different way, it really gets the discussion going. So there's a lot of interaction. You also have ungraded quizzes and chats structured for learning. So this is like your opportunity to kind of test your skills, test your knowledge of what you're learning, and still chat about, maybe something that you're not specifically covering in the class, but you still want to talk to the professor and your classmates about, just like you would in a real classroom setting. You also get practical and real world assignments. So like in the government law and policy making, where you're covering a current public issue, you get that in all your courses. Regular feedback from the professor. Our professors are very, very available, just like they would be on campus. They do Zoom, emails, phone calls. They kind of set up their own schedule so that they can still be providing you with feedback on your learning. And then a collegial online learning community. Even though you're online, you really spend a lot of time with your classmates. I know, there's quite a few students in every cohort that they get together in a Zoom session, or if they're local to Sacramento, they meet together to work together on their assignments or just to hang out. So even though you're in an online program, you're really still getting that collegiate relationship.
And I wanted to add, so even though our program are asynchronous and online, we have heard feedback from some students that they do like an opportunity for face-to-face interaction with sometimes other students, but also with faculty. So we have, many of our faculty are now offering optional, they're not lectures because they're optionals, but so it's more optional office hours. So for those of you who are not familiar with office hours, is when at least on our campus, our faculty do set up 1 hour, 2 hour times where students can just come in without making appointments to discuss things that some of the topics that we're discussing in class, to go over it. So our professors, many of our professors do offer that option. Either they say I'll do small groups and you just have to make an appointment, or here is we're going to do 3 synchronous optional live sessions where we'll talk about what we discuss in class during the lectures, but that is also an opportunity for this faculty and the students to get to know each other. Those again are optional. They are mentioned at the beginning of the semester. They're actually included in the syllabus for each course, and they're always in the evening, unless the students request for them to be during lunchtime or another time, but usually they're in the evening. So for those of you who are a little hesitant perhaps about online, or for those of you who say, I like online, but I still want to be able to see what everybody else looks like, there is an opportunity to do so.
So next steps, our application is still open until August 1st. You can go online to the McGeorge website as it's listed here and open an application. It is done through GradCast. There's no GRE or LSAT required. We do not have an entrance exam. Orientation begins August 8th with classes starting August 15th. So we have an online orientation to get you familiar with the learning platform that we use to make sure you have access to everything you need to have access to. And then your classes begin the following week. And I think now we will open it up to questions. So you can either put them in the chat or the Q&A, or I think you might be able to unmute, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I'm just opening all those different like windows on my end. Thank you for your time. You have our contact information. Well, my contact information. And so what is a capital lowering program? The capital lowering program is the concentration for the JD students who are interested in government law and policy. So for the MSL, that concentration is called government law and policy. In the JD program, that concentration is called the capital lowering program. So there is, as I mentioned, there is a lot of interactions between those two programs. Like some of the courses in some of your MSL government law and policy courses, elective courses, like you will likely have one or two JD students who are students enrolled in the capital lowering program. But because like one is for future lawyers and the other one is for future professionals in that field, like we've decided to choose a different name. We didn't want MSL students to be confused by the term lawyering, since you will not be a lawyer. So go ahead, Kat.
Oh, I don't know the percentage, but I was actually just, pulling the jobs that our grads are doing right now. And I don't have a number, but I feel like it's a pretty large percentage actually in the government law and policy that go on to do lobbying or some type of government affairs work, but I don't know if you have a number.
We've never pulled that data. It's a large number, because you also have to realize like there's so many state agencies. So even in the water and environmental law field, like many of the positions end up being with state agencies, not all, but like there are many. So I would say like a significant amount. As far as lobbying per se, like we have one of our professor, or maybe two of our professors are lobbyists. And we certainly have a fair number of students like from our program and from the JD program who go in lobbying. But government law and policy, as you can imagine, being here in Sacramento, California, we tend to attract a lot of students who are interested in this field, and many of our alumni from all of our program end up working in this field. So it's a wonderful networking opportunities. So are the course books primarily law books or more varied? There are law books because we teach law courses. So we teach the class using the law books, but we teach the class in a way so that students get out skills from it, and not necessarily not professional skills, and not the skills to pass the bar exam. In the JD program, we teach the knowledge, but we also have a strong emphasis on here is how you have to answer questions, because here is how you're going to be tested for the bar exam. For the MSL program, and you don't have that end goal, so you use the materials differently. But they're all law books. There are handouts that are not handouts are copied from law books. There are like articles, news article, and the government law and policy making. I'm assuming in that course probably has more than in a contracts course. There are also some of the videos that you have to read. I'm putting quotation marks because obviously it's a video, but that are not necessarily like lectured by a law professor. Kat?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I mean, there's still, you're still needing to learn like some case law. I mean, you still need to understand where things came from, which is why we still, you are learning law. So there's still law books, yeah. But I also will add some of the courses even have podcasts that you listen to, which is something that you don't really get in law classes. And that part's kind of cool.
What other questions do you have? We're happy to set up one-on-one to discuss with you your career goals and to see if the MSLs is a good fit, or if you know this is what you want to do, we're happy to set up a one-on-one to walk with you through the application docs and portal. Also happy to answer any questions like about the program. I suspect that you all have more questions, so don't be shy, just put them in, because we often get similar questions. So your questions will benefit other students who are, or other prospective students who are here. So I don't want to waste anybody's time. Seeing no other questions, I think, what is your acceptance rate? So this is another rate, like, you know, for master's program, like there, we don't keep track of acceptance rate. I would tell you that our program is, we work very closely with all of our applicants. So as when you use the system GradCast, we can see when you upload your resume, your transcript, your personal statement. So we tend to work so closely with our applicants that for those who end up submitting applications, like there are a good chance for them to be admitted. Like we obviously have an admissions committee, so I can never guarantee it. But if we see any red flags during the application process, unless you start your application and you submit it all within 5 minutes, if we see any red flags, we're able to contact the applicants beforehand. At this point, like we're in, so we're going to start like July, like this is what we do. Kat and I, we're reviewing processing application on a daily basis. The scholarship is where there is a lot more competition. And it's based on your leadership and your academic performances. For those of you who've graduated for more than 5 years, you know, of course, like the GPA won't matter as much, but there's still something that we look into for admission and for scholarship purposes. And obviously, like the sooner you apply, like the higher chance you have to get like a scholarship. So I encourage you, for those of you who are interested, to at least start, you know, an application, like open your account on GradCast. You don't have to complete the application all at once. You can do that over a few days, over a month, even if you wanted. But that gives us an opportunity to have you in our list and for us to start connecting with you and to do some one-on-one counseling. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions? It is, go ahead, Kat.
I was going to say, so our program is very flexible. So yes, one course per semester is completely fine. We sometimes have students who start off that way because they're not really sure how it's going to work into their work-life balance. And usually I recommend starting with less rather than more. And then they might add some later, or they kind of continue at a 1 to 2 courses every semester. And then I think the cap is like 5 years you have to finish your degree by. So 26 units in that time is usually not an issue for students. With that being said, you can also take more. We have some students who take 3 courses one semester, 1 course another semester because of their schedule. It's just like half of the year is busier than the other half. So yes, that is completely acceptable.
Any other questions? So I'm like, keep looking because I'm looking to see if you've put any questions in the Q&A. Okay, well, seeing none, I think I will go ahead and end this webinar. Thank you everyone for being here today. I cannot encourage you enough to connect with us individually. Like I know I've said that probably like 5 times, but I think this is key. And this will first, like, you'll get many of your questions answered like that way, but also that way, like you're you know, it helps you with your decision whether or not to pursue an MSL degree. It helps us also with admissions decisions. So please do connect with us. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you.